gathered for celebration for its opening. We invite your presence again to be with us. Bless this community one more time, and this parish and the nation, as we humbly ask these mercies. In the sovereign name of Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister of State in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for Trelawny Southern, Honorable Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, Member of Parliament, Manchester Northwestern, Mr. Mikhail Phillips, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, Mrs. Arlene Williams, His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Colin Granger, Mayor of Falmouth, and other members of the Municipal Corporation, Mr. Everton Hunter, Chief Executive Officer of the National Works Agency, and other members from the NWA, Bishop Casbert Bryan, from the Warsaw New Testament Church, Honorable Hugh Gentles, Custos Rotalorum of Trelawny, Contractor Mr. Benton Woodbine from Dwights Construction Limited, residents of the Troy community, principals, students, teachers, and friends, good morning to you all. Wonderful. Now I have one little thing that I want to ask you to do for me. So you see your phones? I'm going to ask you to put them on vibrate or silent. That's fine? Thank you so very much. And I know that you're getting cheers at the back, so I'm just going to ask you to do it as quietly as you possibly can. Can we do that? Wonderful. Also, welcome to those who are joining us online. We thank you so much for tuning in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the story of Troy Bridge can be told through the headlines. First came the headlines of hardship. Troy death trap. Collapsed bridge, a danger to residents. Then came the headlines of hope. Work on replacing Troy Bridge to start this year. Troy Bridge works to commence. And today we celebrate the headline that matters most. Troy Bridge reopens. This is a testament to resilience, partnership, and the government's commitment to improving the lives of the people it serves. So today, we do not simply reopen a bridge. We restore a vital link between communities and create new pathways for growth and opportunity. So today is a big deal for Troy, isn't it? No, Troy residents, it's not a big deal at all. We're going to take back the bridge and go back to Kingston. Is it a big deal for Troy? Okay, all right. I need to hear. The Prime Minister needs to know that it's a big deal for Troy, no? Right? Okay, good. So we're going to now go into our program. I'm going to invite Mrs. Arlene Williams to come and bring welcome and opening remarks, and she will be followed by greetings from His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Colin Granger.
Thank you so much, Madam Danny, or Madam Moderator. I'm feeling very euphoric this afternoon. That's the adjective that I would want to describe how I'm feeling. It's been a long time coming, but I know the bridge is here. Oh, yes, it is. There were times when I thought it was taking too long. But oh my God, we held on strong. And it's been a long time coming. But thank God, the bridge is here. Oh, yes, it is. All right, I tell you, when I'm happy, I sing. And so, Madam Moderator, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister without portfolio and having responsibility for works, Honorable Marisa Dalrympe Filbert, Member of Parliament for Southern Trelawny, Mr. Michael Phillips, Member of Parliament for Northwestern Manchester, Mayor of Falmouth, Councillor Junior Gager, Mayor of Mandeville, members, Bishop, I must thank you for that prayer. Bishop Brian, members of the Municipal Corporation of Trelawny and Manchester, members of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development and the National Works Agency CEO, Mr. E.G. Hunter, residents of Troy and the surrounding communities, members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, girls, boys, all, a pleasant good afternoon. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is coming from Psalm 11. Those words are especially fitting as we gather here today to celebrate a moment that Troy and surrounding communities have awaited for years. It is with immense pleasure that I welcome you very, very warmly to this official reopening of the Troy Bridge. Today represents the restoration of a vital connection between people, communities, livelihoods, and opportunities. It is a celebration of resilience, perseverance, and persistence, and the power of partnership in overcoming challenges. So when Tropical Storm Grace caused the collapse of the Troy Bridge in August 2021, the impact was immediate and profound. For more than 150 years, this bridge has served as a critical link connecting the communities of Oxford, Cowich Park, Glasgow, Cowich Park. Thank you for that correction. Glasgow and Troy. Its loss disrupted daily life and created significant hardship for residents on both sides of the Hector River. Students faced longer journeys to school. Farmers encountered difficulties transporting their produce to markets. Businesses experienced disruptions in serving their customers. Families found themselves separated by distance and inconvenience. What had once been a straightforward journey suddenly became a lengthy and costly undertaking. Yet, despite these challenges, the people of these communities demonstrated remarkable resilience. They adapted, persevered, and remained hopeful that one day the important connection would be restored. Today, that hope has become reality. The bridge is here. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the reopening of the Troy Bridge stands as a tangible demonstration of the government's commitment to improving the lives of Jamaicans through strategic infrastructure investment. It reflects our determination to build stronger, safer, and more resilient communities while creating the conditions necessary for economic growth and national development. The bridge is part of our broader vision to modernize Jamaica's infrastructure and ensure that our roads, bridges, housing developments, water systems, and other critical assets can withstand the challenges posed by a changing climate while supporting the needs of a growing economy. This new Troy Bridge has been designed not only to restore connectivity, but to provide a safer, more resilient structure capable of serving generations to come. Projects of this nature do not happen by chance. They are made possible through careful planning, technical expertise, strong partnerships, and a shared commitment to serving the people of Jamaica. I therefore extend sincere appreciation to all the stakeholders who contributed to this achievement, including the teams from the ministry and the National Works Agency, the engineers, consultants, and contractors, particularly Dwights Construction Limited, whose dedication and professionalism helped bring this project to completion. Most importantly, I wish to acknowledge the residents of Troy and the surrounding communities. Thank you for your patience, understanding, and unwavering resilience through this period of disruption. Your perseverance has inspired all of us who have worked very, very hard to make this day possible. As we celebrate this milestone, let us also recognize what it symbolizes: the strengthening of communities, the restoration of opportunities, and the promise of continued development for future generations. So once again, thank you for joining us on this historic occasion. Your presence underscores the significance of this achievement and the collective effort that has brought us to this moment. God bless you all.
Good morning, everyone. I will stick to the protocol that has already been established, but I must mention the most Honorable Dr. Andrew Hones, Minister Morgan, my Member of Parliament, Mistress Marissa Dalrymple-Filbert, and, of course, Mr. Michael Phillips. Good morning. It is my pleasure to bring greetings on this very important occasion as we celebrate the official opening of the Troy Bridge. Today represents much more than the completion of a construction project. It is the restoration of a vital link that connects families, facilitates access to essential services, and strengthens the daily lives of the people who depend on this roadway. When the bridge collapsed, it created significant challenges for residents, commuters, farmers, students, and business operators. And please remember, and teachers, yes. And please remember that I live in this little district. I was born here. And when this bridge collapsed, many times you hear the people passing my place, Prime Minister, and you hear them bawl out, "Gauger, you now fix the bridge." So I am more than happy. Today, we celebrate not only a rebuilt bridge, but renewed confidence, improve accessibility, and enhance safety for all who use it. On behalf of the residents of Troy, and by extension Trelawny and Manchester, I extend sincere appreciation to the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister, Minister Morgan, for this unwavering commitment to improving the quality of life of Jamaicans. Our government's continued investment in infrastructure demonstrates a clear understanding that strong communities are built upon strong foundations. I also wish to express heartfelt thanks to all other ministers, members of Parliament, and technical team. I know my Member of Parliament was on it. I know Mr. Phillips was on it too. You all worked diligently to ensure the successful completion of this project. To the residents of Troy, Thank you for your patience throughout the rehabilitation process. This bridge belongs to you, and today's achievement is one that the entire community can celebrate with pride as we officially open this important structure. Let us continue to work together to build stronger, safer, and more prosperous communities across Trelawny and Jamaica. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the people of Troy, the parish of Trelawny, Manchester, our government, and the beloved Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you, P.S. Williams and Mayor Gager. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be hearing from Mr. Michael Phillips, Member of Parliament, Manchester North Western.
Most Honourable Prime Minister, Custos, Gentles, Minister Morgan, my colleague, Member of Parliament, Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, His Worship the Mayor, Colin Gager, and also I'd like to recognize Deputy Mayor for Mandeville and the Councillor for the Mile Gully Division, Rohan Kennedy. Madam P.S. and the team from the National Works Agency, students from Troy Primary, High School, as the head boy and head girl from Troy, and we also have some students here from Mile Gully High School. Residents from North Trelawny, South Trelawny, and my constituents from across the bridge from Northwest Manchester. You know, I said to the PS when she sat down that she put the rest of us speakers under pressure, because I doubt that anyone that is following her can't sing like she did. But the bridge was a long time coming. It was a long time coming. And the bridge, this bridge, Troy Bridge, is an example of how, even though we are on two different political sides, that our voices can come together. That is mine and Member of Parliament Dalrymple Filbert, in making a louder noise in ensuring that both South Trelawny and Northwest Manchester can once more be connected. Sometimes we felt like we were a lonely voice in the wilderness. But I have to also, even though we have had many of tension spat, Sir Prime Minister, it did not change course. And the Prime Minister saw the importance, and the team from the National Works Agency saw the importance of ensuring that the Troy Bridge was reconstructed. Next month, well, August would make 5 years, but it's a better late than never. Manchester Prime Minister was more affected in this instance because we had students who live on this side, who went to Troy, who had to be relocated to other schools. I mean, I nearly lose my life crossing the bridge one day. Fell crossing the bridge. We had teachers who teach at Troy, who live over on the Manchester side, who had to relocate, leaving their residence over on that side, renting houses on this side. So there was displacement on both sides. I was in the area a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, seeing persons, market vendors, crossing the bridge now, heading towards Santa Cruz, heading to Westmoreland. So it is a connection not only for farmers, for students, but also for tourists. Even while coming here, I saw a tour bus going down, heading to Appleton, driving this route. So it is important connection between North and South. So I want to say to the Prime Minister, Minister Morgan, on behalf of the residents from Northwest Manchester, because as I have been explaining to Minister Morgan, when you cross the bridge on that side, you're back in Northwest Manchester. Bottom Shudley, right? Golden Run, right? And that's what I'm going to touch on right now, right? But I want to, since Minister Morgan will be speaking in Parliament in another few weeks, to remember deep rural Jamaica on our roads. Kingston is not Jamaica alone. Mandeville is not Manchester alone. Falmouth is not Trelawny alone. Remember us in deep rural Jamaica whenever you're crafting that road program. Because we want some of it too. But I will not make the roads take away from the greater issue that today we are officially opening the Troy Bridge, which has now connected the two constituencies together and connecting residents from where we once came from. So, Prime Minister, I want to, again, on behalf of my constituents, to say thank you to yourself and your administration for ensuring that a promise that was made, a promise kept, and now we're here in officially opening the Troy Bridge. May God continue to bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Phillips. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be hearing from one of your very own, a child, and she is from the Troy Primary School. So when I call her name, I wanted to make her feel welcomed, okay? Are you ready for it? So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to be hearing from Rhea Smith as she comes to us with an item.
Stop for Watch Me by Missy Collins. Hey, big man, stop for Watch Me and don't laugh with me. You're not sister, me a little bikini. Try take your eye them off of me. You think say me a Friday? Me no want hear a thing where you say. Come me a just one baby, and you not make my family bury me. Hold on, your ears them now work. You not hear me, so you have to stop for watch me. Excuse you. Your feet say you are bigger, oh me I go afraid to hunger you. See me parents grow me as a sensible little bikini. So you can't fool this girl. Cause my father don't tell me say me pretty like Miss World. So you no better come tell me that your favorite dopey but. You no hear me say you have to stop for watch me. You no sister me a little bikini. Hey big man, stay in your lane. Cause you now make my life good on the drain. Left me alone. Make me enjoy me days. Try take your eye them off of me. Me I beg you do. Stop for watch me. Or me I tell me father pa you. Oh.
Thank you very much, Ms. Smith. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I invite to the lectern the Honorable Marissa Dalrymple Filbert, Minister of State in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs and Member of Parliament for Trelawny Southern.
Good morning, everybody. Usually, I would say the protocol has been established, but this is such a wonderful and fabulous morning here that you will indulge me if I don't say that and go through and mention people who I would like to mention, especially this morning. And I am going to start with our most honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Andrew Michael Holness. And beside him, our minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development with responsibility for works, the Honorable Robert Morgan. I want also to mention our custos of this parish, Mr. Hugh Gentles, who was born, bred, lives and has his being right here with us in this parish. My colleague Member of Parliament, Michael Phillips, from Northwest Manchester. Mr. E.G. Hunter, Chief Executive Director of the NWA, and Mr. Varden Downer, the Senior Director in charge of projects, who are here with us this morning. Our Mayor of Falmouth and the Councillor of this division, Warsop, Mr. Colin Gager. And PM, I am extremely proud to say with me this morning are the 4 councillors of South Trelawny. Mr. War, Liston War from the Ulster Spring Division, Mr. Smith from the Lormers Division, Mr. Davis from the Albertown Division, and in Trelawny we are one. Mr. Bartley has travelled from North Trelawny and is here with us to represent North Trelawny because we are one people. I also want to mention this morning our Superintendent of Police, who is here, and members of the police force. I want to mention the press. Residents of South Trelawny, you come first and are most important to me. I say it in and out of season. I welcome all of you here. I welcome the people from neighboring parishes. I welcome everybody who is here this morning, because today is a day of celebration, of pride and fulfillment. P.S., I have forgotten to welcome you and your team. Where's P.S.? You outdid us all for sure. I didn't know you could sing. I know you're very efficient. PM, I don't even think of her in your ministry because we call her so often, and her team at the ministry has just been fantastic in responding to me. So I'm going to say to you, when I hear you say, for some things, just remember, and I say proudly as your member of parliament, and I say that when I reach out to ministries in our government, I get response. That is how you get what you have here. So I want you to acknowledge that and thank them. Thank you, Pastor Brand, for always being with us and being so gracious. I said today is a day of celebration, pride, and fulfillment as we gather to witness the opening of the Troy Bridge, a project so many of us have waited for so long. This bridge represents, as my colleague said, more than just concrete, steel, and engineering excellence. It represents our Prime Minister and the government's unwavering commitment to improving the lives of our people through strategic investments in infrastructure. And I want to pause and especially thank our Minister, the Honorable Robert Morgan, and his team for not just coming here for the opening, but for being here on so many occasions when there are no cameras, nobody around, just to check and ensure that the project was going well. Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure you know that the Prime Minister knows only too well that the only reward for good work is more work. because he has done good work. That's why he's still here as our Prime Minister. So, once again, thank you, sir. And Minister Morgan, I know you're sitting close beside him. So I know you have done good work for us. And as I said, the only thing for you is more work. So we look forward to more visits from you as you travel through to see the state of the roads that Melissa has ravaged in its passage a few months ago. For some while now, and it's important, and I know my friend and colleague said, it's been a long time coming. But listen to me now. For some time now, the cries were loud and sometimes very unkind in the call for a new bridge. But I want all of us to recognize, our government recognize, that to simply replace a bridge quickly to appease the call and the cries of many was not the answer. Our government recognized that and continues to impress upon us that infrastructure is a foundation on which prosperous nations are built. And the construction of this Troy Bridge is a part of a broader vision. And I stand here to say I am proud that it is so. And it is backed by the recently passed NARA Act, which will help to create resilient infrastructure that will serve not only the needs of us standing here today, but the demands of future generations, our children and our children to come. So we are opening a bridge today, not just a bridge. It is a first world, first-class bridge. We understand that quality infrastructure of this nature requires long-term planning, sound engineering, responsible investment, and careful supervision. And that, as I have said, and I can't repeat it too often, was done by the Minister, Robert Morgan, in his several visits to this area. The completion of this project also demonstrates what can be achieved when a government remains focused despite several outcries. As parents, the children come and ask every day, Mama, me want this school bag, me now wear this one, or me want these shoes, because me want that, me now. And your parents stops and stop, because guess what? They don't just want to buy any shoes or school bag. They want to plan and make sure that what you get is good, will last for time. So despite the challenges, the rising costs and unforeseen obstacles, including a Category 5 hurricane, our government has remained committed to seeing this project through to completion, because this government understands the importance of the bridge to the people of this area and the surrounding areas. So this morning, we cut the ribbon officially. We do so with gratitude to the engineers, contractors, workers, public servants, and community members whose work made this achievement possible. To everyone gathered here today, I say with confidence that the opening of the long-awaited Troy Bridge is not the end of our journey. It is another milestone along the path of national development. Today, as Member of Parliament for South Trelawny, I encourage us all to stand connected, empowered, and ready for the future. May this bridge serve us all for generations to come, and may it stand forever as a testament to progress, partnership, and the enduring spirit of a people led by a committed government. Thank you all, and may God bless this community, our nation, our Prime Minister, and our government. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to welcome to the lectern the Honorable Robert Nestor Morgan, Minister with Responsibility for Works.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I want to first recognize the protocols that have been established, but I want to acknowledge the teams from the National Works Agency, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, the contractor, the engineers, the community leaders, the clergy, but most importantly, Mrs. Filbert, Mile Gully High, Warsop Primary, Troy High, Wilson Run Primary and Infant, the residents of South Trelawny and Northwest Manchester, and Troy Primary as well. You are the ones who have had to deal with the challenges of the absence of this bridge over the last 5 years. I have been here several times, Prime Minister, and every time I come, I heard the stories of the students, of the teachers, of the principal, of the business people who have had to journey long miles to carry out their business and to get their education. So it's a real pleasure here for me today to be at the official opening of this bridge. And this is, to me, not simply the opening of a bridge. It's the restoration of a vital connection. It is the return of an easier movement for families, farmers, students, workers, taxi operators, business operators, emergency services, and all those who depend on this corridor on a daily basis. Today, we are not just marking the completion of a project. We're reconnecting communities and restoring access. And more importantly, we have built a bridge that is built to last. When we signed the contract, we had Beryl. When we started building, we had Raphael. And just as we finished building the bridge, it was tested by Melissa. Prime Minister, the two sides of the bridge were washed out, but the bridge, like a pillar of excellence, stood in the middle of the river, could not be moved. When Prime Minister said, Minister, this bridge must stand the test of time and it must be built for resilience, we transferred that policy direction to Mr. Hunter and Mr. Downer, who ensured that the contractor understood in the designs that this bridge will last at least another 150 years. So it's not just a repair for today, it's an investment of your tax dollars by your government for tomorrow, for future generations. This bridge will outlast most of us sitting in this room today. I want to thank the residents for your patience and your resilience, as I know that the works at times were inconvenient. But the bridge is not just the bridge standing by itself. The bridge is a symbol of the approach of your government in relation to infrastructure works. Jamaica has about 875 bridges that are controlled and managed by the National Works Agency. Most of these bridges were built decades ago. Some were built over a century ago, in the colonial period and after. Today, they face heavier traffic, stronger rainfall events, flooding, river erosion, and a growing reality of climate change. Cabinet, on Monday of last week, approved the Accelerated Bridge Project, which is a major bridge replacement project, which will replace over 50 bridges in Jamaica over the next 2.5 years. I put it to the people in this audience that no other government, no other prime minister No other minister of works has ever built 55 bridges at one time in the history of Jamaica. This is your government at work. And we know what happened in the West. The parishes of Hanover, Trelawny, Westmoreland, St. James, and St. Elizabeth bore the brunt of the damage from Hurricane Melissa. A majority of the bridges that are going to be built over the next 2 years and a half will be built in those parishes. This is not an accident. It represents the thinking of your government, a deliberate approach to ensure that we're building Jamaica stronger post-Melissa. We're building stronger, safer, more reliable crossings so that communities will not be cut off. As your minister with responsibility for works assigned by the Prime Minister, I am very clear that infrastructure is not an abstract thought. Infrastructure has real impact on people's lives. A bridge is not just a bridge. A bridge is a connector of communities, parishes, and people. Today we celebrate a reconnection. We celebrate progress. We celebrate the return of a vital link to the people of Trelawny and Manchester. May this bridge carry your children safe to school, our farmers to their businesses, our teachers and principals to their place of work, and our communities continue to be joined together. Mikhail, we do not forget the rural people. I am a country MP too. And the government will be doing a lot of work in these two parishes. I am just going to announce one of the works that we're doing, but there are more to come. We will be doing major road infrastructure upgrading, not patching, on the Troy to Warsaw Road at the value of $280 million under the Spark Main Road program for the people of Troy and the people of Manchester and Trelawny. And that's not it alone. We will be making further announcements about road infrastructure projects in these constituencies and these parishes over the next several weeks. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and congratulations on your new bridge.
Thank you so very much, Minister, and thank you for your stewardship of this project and other projects to come. Now, when I'm at church, I often hear them say music plays an integral role in our worship. Who can testify? Amen. And so I dare say that music plays an integral role in any event that we have in Jamaica. True or false? True. And so, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please make welcome Rihanna Williams from the Troy High School as she brings to us a musical item.
Good afternoon, everyone. There's a land that I've heard about so far across the sea. There's a land that I have heard about so far across the sea. To have you on my dreamland would be like heaven to me. To have you on my dreamland would be like heaven to me. We'll get breakfast from the trees. We'll get honey from the bees. We'll take rides on waterfalls. We count the stars in the skies. And surely
well. That was good, wasn't it? I heard over this side, well, big up my niece. On this side, there's a very proud aunt on this side. Big up my niece. She did well, didn't she? That was beautiful. Some good range and runs there. Yeah, man, she has a bright future ahead. So, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure, immense pleasure, to welcome at this time to the lectern your Prime Minister, our Prime Minister, the Minister of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. You will forgive me if I do not regurgitate the very prominent list of persons who are here gathered to celebrate the opening of this bridge. And I'm sure you will all feel dignified and acknowledged when I say it's good to see you all nice and decent people. Today, we gather to celebrate the opening of a bridge. But in truth, we are celebrating something much greater than a bridge. We are celebrating reconnection. We are celebrating resilience. We are celebrating the triumph of persistence over delay. For the people of this area, the Troy Bridge is not simply a physical structure. It is part of the history of this community and part of the story of Jamaica itself. The original bridge was built in 1869. 1869. Pause for a moment and consider what that means. It could mean that your great grandparent would have walked across that bridge when it was just built, or maybe even helped to build it. This bridge stood before the arrival of motor vehicles in Jamaica. So this bridge was built to carry donkey cart. But for 152 years, and in the last 60 of those 152 years, it would have carried some heavy-duty trucks. It stood before electricity reached here. It stood through generations of change, connecting families, farmers, merchants, churches, schools, communities, right across the parishes of Manchester and Trelawny. But I want you to consider that this bridge was constructed after a pivotal point in Jamaica's history, a point which some of you may know about by virtue of the limited exposure you would have to this event in your school curriculum. I'm expecting that the children who are gathered here from Troy Primary and Troy High, and forgive me if I don't remember all the other schools that are here, the Morant Bay Rebellion. How many people know of the Morant Bay Rebellion? It is why we celebrate the national heroes, Paul Bogle and George William Gordon. We don't know, many of us, what really happened there. We know there was a rebellion. Over 300 Jamaicans were killed. estates were burnt. It was a massive rebellion. But what it did was to spark a renewed interest on how Jamaica was governed by the British colonial power. After the rebellion, the then governor, Governor Eyre, was recalled, and indeed he was tried in the United Kingdom. A new governor was sent to Jamaica. In fact, there was a royal commission to study why there was the rebellion. And the commission found many things. It's not my time today to present on what the commission found. But what it did find was that Jamaica was not being properly administered. Governance, infrastructure development. And they decided that the parliament at the time would be dissolved because there was a local parliament of local planters and wealthy people. And Jamaica became, after that parliament was dissolved, it became a crown colony, meaning that it was administered directly from the United Kingdom. It didn't have its local parliament to administer its affairs anymore because it was clear that there was a failure in the local governance of affairs in Jamaica. And out of that came a massive thrust to reorganize and redevelop Jamaica. So, somewhere around 1867, thereabouts, they started to restructure Jamaica. Jamaica at that time had 22 parishes. They whittled down the parishes to 14 so that it could be properly administered. I know it in the minds of Jamaicans, it is inconceivable for some that we could have other parishes. But during that period of time, for the better service of the people, the administrative and geographic arrangements were important. So the new administration of Jamaica, which was coming centrally from the colonial powers in the UK, decided that they would cut from 22 to 14. But they also implemented a massive program of public works. So out of that commission, that royal commission, and the new governor, which was sparked as a result of the Morant Bay Rebellion, we had the formation of the JCF, the Jamaica Constabulary Force. We had a new judicial system put in place. And we had the Public Works Department formed. And out of that came massive public works, including the Rio Cobre Canal, which irrigated some 25,000 acres of land. The building of many of the roads that still exist today. And bridges, including the Troy Bridge, which was started in somewhere about 1868 and completed in 1869. I want you to settle on that point, because fast forward to today, it took us almost 5 years to build a replacement bridge. The bridge that was first built wasn't built to carry lorries and heavy-duty trucks and the high volume of traffic, but it lasted for 152 years. It would have seen Hurricane Charlie, Hurricane Ivan, all the hurricanes. It was built by virtue of a national thrust directed by the colonial government. And we, independent people, struggle internally to deliver infrastructure quickly. This speech is not just for you. It is for all Jamaica listening. This bridge, it is not only for the benefit of Troy, the area around, the communities around. This bridge is a lesson to Jamaica. Like much of our infrastructure, people scarcely noticed it when it was working. But when Tropical Storm Grace destroyed the bridge in 2021, everyone suddenly understood its value. The closure of this crossing did not simply create great inconvenience, it disrupted lives. Students had to travel long distances to school. Farmers incurred higher transportation costs to move their produce to market. And by the way, the idea behind this bridge was to open up what was called the Yam Belt in Trelawny, to move the yams through this bridge, through Manchester, to carry you into Kingston to get connected to the ports. So the infrastructure supported an economic plan. It is quite unfortunate that somehow our governments, successive governments, have not seemed to have the ability to effect infrastructure plans that support economic plans and social development. Think about it. This is an infrastructure, before it was destroyed and replaced, that we relied on for 152 years. The destruction of this bridge reminded us of a simple truth. Infrastructure is not merely concrete and steel. Infrastructure is opportunity made real. Opportunity materialized, opportunity accessible. Infrastructure is productivity made possible. Throughout history, the great civilizations of the world understood this principle. The Romans built roads and bridges not as monuments, but as instruments of commerce, administration, and national cohesion. Across every successful nation, transportation networks have reduced distance, expanded opportunity, and created prosperity. Jamaica's development must follow that same path. The roads, bridges, railways, ports that were built during the 19th and 20th century connected our people to markets, connected communities to each other, and connected the nation to economic opportunity. The Troy Bridge belongs to that proud tradition. But at this point, the nation should consider that much of our infrastructure that we have today was generated from that era of infrastructure, rapid growth planning. That infrastructure is now aged. It has outlived its useful and engineered life. It is very difficult to communicate that thought to the average person coming on the road to get here, which is pothole-filled and bumpy, difficult to maneuver, and in sections collapsing. All you want to hear is how we're going to replace that road and why is the road bad, without necessarily appreciating the context behind this. As a member of parliament, I not just sympathize, I empathize, I understand, because there are some times when I wish I could complain to somebody too. So it is a matter of passing it on to the Prime Minister when the pressure from the citizens reach you to say, I've brought it to a higher authority to get these roads repaired. But I want you to bear in mind that we are not going to be able to repair overnight the 20,000 kilometers of roadways that we have, much of which was built over 100 years ago. So the road is not only bad because the contractor didn't fix it properly, which is oftentimes a reality that we face and cannot be excused. The road isn't only bad because water intrusion or other weather events. The road is bad because it is old. And it was not properly maintained. But even roads that are properly maintained, there is just a time where no matter how much you maintain it, the road has to be totally redone, which is why we have the Spark program. A lot of people said to us when we were doing the Spark program, why not just take the money and patch the road? That was said even by some of our own MPs. Because you see, they don't understand the problem. Every year, Minister Morgan will tell you, he comes to me pleading for more money to do patching. And every year we are patching. Sometimes we are patching the patch that we patched. And yes, we have to patch it because of the convenience that you need. But you also have to understand that we have to be thinking, how do we now start to replace these aged infrastructure, these old roads that we have, how do we rebuild them? And that's what the Spark program is designed to do. We are literally not just patching and resurfacing, we are rehabilitating. So the course is there. Thank God we're not going to have to create new alignments. But we have to, yes, my dear, we're not changing that course. But we're going to have to take off the top surface. We're going to sometime have to go to subsurface. We're going to have to put in new drains. And as we take off the top surface and the subsurface, sometimes the pipes that are underneath there are old. We have to change them. That is all about rehabilitation. So the Spark program is designed to address this business of aged infrastructure, old infrastructure, to bring them to the modern standards that will give us several generations of roadways that will last. So today we are happy for this bridge. And it's not just the restoration of connection. It's the restoration of dignity. When I saw the first news clips of the kids trying to cross it, some with rope, some wading in the water, I just felt very very sad about the whole situation. And said, this is not what Jamaica is about. And today, we are restoring the dignity of the people around the area who rely on the bridge. It also restores the confidence of the people because, you know, sometimes as I could have picked it up from the very rousing applause when, I don't remember who said it, you must not forget the rural communities. I think it's Mikhail who said it, and endorsed by Minister Morgan, claiming his rural heritage. Because there are oftentimes rural communities feel forgotten. It's a loss of dignity, a loss of respect, a loss of confidence. And let me assure you, your government does not forget the rural communities. What the government is trying hard to do is to rapidly integrate the rural communities into the nerve centers of economic activities. And that means ensuring that you have proper roads to be able to connect. So you can move from here to Kingston, here to Falmouth, here to Montego Bay very quickly. You can choose to live here and choose to work elsewhere. You can move your goods from here to the markets where they will be sold quickly. That's the idea. So we're not forgetting rural communities. And the $230-odd million spent here is a symbol that you are top of mind and not forgotten. But many Jamaicans have asked a legitimate question over the years. If everyone agreed that the bridge was needed, why did it take so long? It puzzled me too as your Prime Minister. Because the then Speaker of the House, who was the Member of Parliament for one side of the bridge, took an unusual privilege in Parliament as Speaker to raise the concern. And I was about to write her a note to say that this was not usual protocol for speakers to use their chair to raise their constituency matters. But before I could pen the note, the Member of Parliament for the other side, Mikhail Philip, stood up and raised the issue as well. So there was a bipartisan agreement that the Troy Bridge must be fixed. But there is such a thing as procedure. I have been using the term bureaucracy. The answer lies, the question deserves an honest answer, right? And the answer lies in the systems governments use to ensure that public funds are spent responsibly. Over many decades, countries around the world learned difficult lessons about poorly planned projects. Bridges were built without proper designs. Roads were approved without adequate engineering studies. Costs were underestimated. Budgets were exceeded. Projects were started sometimes even without financing. And taxpayers ultimately paid the price. To prevent those mistakes, government developed systems of public investment appraisal. These systems require detailed engineering assessments, environmental reviews, economic analyses, procurement plans, fiscal evaluations, and independent approvals. These are not meaningless exercises. They serve an important purpose. They help to ensure that taxpayers receive value for money. They reduce waste. They discourage corruption. They strengthen accountability. They support sound fiscal management. And so as Prime Minister, I would never advocate abandoning these principles. Indeed, Jamaica's hard-won fiscal stability has been built upon stronger discipline, better planning, and more responsible management of public resources. But there is another truth we must acknowledge. Every system can become excessively rigid. Every safeguard can become overly burdensome. Every procedure can eventually create its own cost. And those costs are often invisible. When a bridge remains closed for years, there is a cost. When a farmer must travel farther to market, there is a cost. When a student spends additional hours commuting, there is a cost. When a business incurs higher transportation expenses, it costs you. When an ambulance or emergency vehicle faces delay, there could be a cost. It could be your life. These costs do not always appear on the government's balance sheet. They are not always visible to the technocrat or bureaucrat who is implementing the procedure. Yet, these costs are borne by you every day. It is borne by the children trying to get to school, risking their lives, going down the slope, crossing the river. My challenge is that it is invisible to the people who are saying to the NWA, for example, go and do an environmental study. Go and do an economic assessment of the bridge. Everybody agrees the bridge is necessary, but the procedure requires an environmental assessment of the bridge that was here 152 years before anybody think of environmental assessment. The bridge was built to create the economy that is here, built before, long before, justified its existence. Don't need to say whether or not this bridge will create economic activity. But yet, this project had to go through all of the procedures. I can't complain, because ultimately, it is the government that makes the law. And I want everybody to appreciate that the government can change the law as well. The requirements that is imposed upon the infrastructure projects sometimes cost more than the actual infrastructure construction. Don't make sense. The time it takes to do study on top of study on top of study sometimes take longer than the actual construction work itself. And I tell you, there is a thinking in our country. Don't trust yourself. So double check everything 3-4 times over before you do it. And 2, if it never take long, it wasn't well done. It's a culture that has embedded itself in our public bureaucracy. It has gone to the point where it appears as Jamaicans we are afraid of success. We have allowed a certain school of thought to paralyze us. When the colonial government decided after 1865 that they were going to build this bridge, they said, build the bridge. And with the bridge, the road, the irrigation, all of it was done. We as independent people, we can't figure out how to build the bridge and still be accountable and transparent at the same time. our bureaucracy must change. Sometimes it is less effective at measuring the cost of not building quickly enough. I want you to understand that point. The system we have is quite effective at measuring the cost of building, but it is not effective at measuring the cost of not building quickly enough. It would have cost us at least 30% less if we had built this bridge 4 years ago. I wanted to think on that. So, this is where reform becomes necessary. The purpose of a process is to produce a result. Unfortunately, many of our bureaucrats and technocrats and some of our politicians and many in the civil society who criticize the work of government believe that the end of a process is another process. And it has no regard for the suffering that you feel. The people who critique the government trying to move fast will never come here and hear your complaints. In fact, have you ever seen any one of them? When the process itself becomes an obstacle to result, then responsible leaders have an obligation to improve the process. The objective is not to choose between accountability and efficiency. The objective is to achieve both. That is where this government is pushing towards, achieving both accountability and efficiency. The objective is not to weaken safeguards. The objective is to make our safeguards smarter. It would have been a much smarter application of the public investment appraisal system if it was understood. A bridge was there before. The bridge was being used. The bridge supported an economy. No need to go back and do another test, another consultant. That is a smarter way of applying the rules. But when bureaucracies become self-serving, the objective is not to remove scrutiny. The objective is to ensure that scrutiny does not become paralysis. This bridge teaches us that good governance must mean more than following procedures. Good governance must also mean delivering outcomes. A modern state must be capable of asking the necessary questions without endlessly delaying the necessary answer. And this requires us to have a more mature national conversation. But when reforms are proposed to accelerate approvals, some of the same voices object. They demand urgency, but resist change. They criticize delay, but defend complexity. They speak passionately about process, but rarely acknowledge the hardship experienced by the people waiting for benefits. The people of Troy did not need an endless debate. They just simply needed a bridge. So, empathy requires us to reconsider not only the risk of action, but the cost of inaction. And that is why this government is committed to reforming Jamaica's bureaucracy. We are determined to modernize our public investment and approval system. We are determined to reduce duplication. We are determined to shorten approval timelines. We are determined to create accelerated pathways for critical infrastructure projects. where delay imposes significant hardships on citizens, because efficiency is not the enemy of accountability. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, we have created the NARA. That is why we have created the National Agency for Reconstruction and Resilience, the NARA Authority. So, NARA will seek to structure projects, order them, cut unnecessary bureaucratic red tape, but at the same time gives a high level of accountability, transparency, and ensures the integrity of the processes. NARA will not only help us to recover from the hurricane and build resilience, but more importantly, NARA will show us that there is a better way to build Jamaica. There is a faster, more efficient way to bring infrastructure development to the people of the country. So, this bridge stands as a symbol of resilience, but it also stands as a challenge to us as Jamaicans. You have been fed a diet by our intellectuals, our so-called thinking class, that you can't trust your government, that everything that is being done, there is something hidden behind it. You have been fed a diet which says your government is incapable. As independent people, we need to shake that off, and we need to support the effectiveness of government. We must support governments that deliver for the people. And this government has demonstrated, not a perfect government. Yes, there are problems, but you can rest assured that this government wants to deliver for you quickly and effectively. I am certain that this bridge will last another 150 years or more. But for me, this is a turning point. We are not going to allow critical infrastructure to be tied up in procedures and processes that satisfy procedures and processes and don't deliver. Let Troy be a lesson to Jamaica. This bridge now stands as a symbol of renewal, a symbol of the importance of infrastructure in national development, and perhaps most importantly, a symbol of our determination to build a Jamaica where government works not only carefully, but effectively, not only responsibly, but urgently, not only according to process, but in service of the people. Today, we reconnect communities. Today, we recommit ourselves to building Jamaica that delivers for every citizen. May God bless the people of Troy. May God bless the people of Trelawny and Manchester. May God continue to bless Jamaica, land we love.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister. And I heard some persons giving the time. All right, so at this time, we're going to be having the vote of thanks, which will be done by Stephanie Codlin-Smith, and she's the principal of the Warsaw Primary and Infant School.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. All good things must come to an end. Today, this is just one of the many good things that has come to an end. This structure has truly bridged an important gap. We express our thanks to all who would have made deliberate efforts to make this happen. Our Member of Parliament, Mr. Phillips and Mrs. Dalrymple-Philibert, the ministers and the agency, we thank you. The constituents of Southern Trelawny, Northwestern and Northeastern Manchester are truly grateful, and we say thank you. To the students who performed today, thank you for an excellent performance. Prime Minister, as we consume the diet of effective governance, we thank you and always know that South Trelawny is your home away from home. And I will end by saying, Geja, thank you for fixing the bridge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Codling Smith. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy that you are smiling and you're laughing, because at this time we're going to make our way, don't move just yet, we're going to make our way over to the bridge and we're going to be cutting the ribbon. And I want it to be very orderly, all right? So, the persons who will be cutting the bridge, we have our permanent secretary, Mrs. Arlene Williams. We have our mayor, Mr. Geja. We have Mr. Phillips, our MP, Mrs. Marissa Dalrymple-Philibert. We have Minister Morgan, and of course, we have the Prime Minister. And we'll be having 2 students, one from the Troy High School, as well as one from the Troy Primary School. So at this time, please make your way over to the bridge.